everyone, and welcome to this installment of the Clear Process Solutions WebTips. This is our platform to share tips and tricks around our different technology offerings. My name is Tim Dempsey. I will be your presenter today, and we'll be looking into the different ways that we can resolve swim lanes in Precisely's Automate Evolve. So when we're discussing and talking about swim lane resolvers, this is a key component for any design or development. No matter how small or how big or complex or simple the solution is, and every solution will be resolving some swim lanes as long as we have other functional groups other than the requester. And so more often than not, we'll be needing to resolve swim lanes. But there are many different ways to accomplish this, and there's different times you want to use those. So today we'll be looking at, I would say, the three most commonly used ways of resolving a swim lane. And we'll be walking through how to get those set up, created, and discuss when we might want to use those. So if you have any other questions, just feel free to add those into the comments along the way. If you see anything that you would like to learn more about, whether discussing how we can create other parts or other ways of doing them, just go ahead and leave those in the comments, and we'd love to hear from you. So for our following options, we're going to be looking at the workflow participant control. This is an element that we can use on the form tab, and this can set the swim lane from a form value on your request. The other, number two, is the Manage Swim Lane plugin. This is new to Automate Evolve. This is a way that we can add or remove a user into that swim lane from the workflow. And we'll also be walking through just the properties of the participant resolver on the swim lane itself. So they have three offerings in how we can resolve that swim lane, and that's either through the ADGroup, a DataConnection, or SolutionFields. So that's our overview for today. Our next step into this is going to actually be opening up Automate Evolve and walking through this in a hands-on experience. Okay, so I've created a demo solution for us today. I'm going to go ahead and open that. And first I'm going to show you how I created this, and then we'll walk through demonstrating it in a request. So our first option was the workflow participant element in our form view. So here I navigated to our form tab. I've added a workflow participant to the form, and I have quite a few options here. So we can assign the swim lane. We can use these different types of form values. Typically, I like to use login name or email, as these two, they don't change as often and they're most reliable. And we can either add, replace to the existing swim lane if we're resolving it already. And if it's already assigned, then we have a couple options. We can keep the participants that have been initially assigned. We can reassign it to the user group that we're assigning within this form field. And we can also add it to the existing participants. In this case, I'm just going to be adding it to the swim lane behavior, or adding it to the swim lane. And I've selected the email field. So more oftentimes we would use this often when we are querying data and dynamically creating or finding who our assignee is. So whether that's based on your different business process data, or that this can all be derived and set from your form choices. That is one of the main drivers and important value points of this workflow participant assigning. we can initialize the swim lane, but we can dynamically update who receives that task based on our set of information. In this case, we're going to keep it simple, and we just have a text box, and I'll be entering in my email first. We'll come back to this when we walk through the demonstration. Okay, now to get an idea of how we set this up for a workflow participant, we want to navigate to our swim lane. We want to select the swim lane we want to set. And we have a few options here: person from role, or team from role. So if you want to assign it to someone right off the bat, you would select that one. For person from role, this is where it needs to be set from another source. It is someone that is not known yet, but will be set in order to initialize the swim lane. And we have a few items here for participant resolver. So we'll talk about this data connection one right now, and we'll come back to these after our demonstration. So in this case, we want to resolve the swim lane from our data connection. And in this one, I've selected a data connection called originator, and we want to use the email value. So what this means is, let's navigate back to our solution tab. Under data connections, I've added one here called originator. And I want to make sure that the user that I'm setting to receive this task is a part of a group, right? A control group. We want to make sure, and we need to ensure that they've been added to Evolve and that they are established within a group. So went ahead and added users from group and their group from originators. Now, note here that you can select other different types of data connections to initialize the swim lane prior to being set. So we can enter in reference data list, that's another common one, a SQL server, which is also very common, and even solution data. Okay. So we have our workflow participant element, assigning it to the swim lane. We have our dynamic field that we can set to a user. And we also have set up our swim lane properties to ensure that we're going to be setting someone dynamically and that person is going to be in this user group connected from this data connection. So let's go ahead and see that in action. Okay, so I'm going to enter in my email here. And click Save and Route. And just like that, I have my first task that was assigned to me by entering in my email address. So we were able to assign a task based on a user that was entered into the form that's a part of the originator group. So that is option one. Now, option two, we're going to go back to Composer. You may have seen this plugin as we were talking through the swim lane. So this is our second option, and this is Manage Swim Lane plugin. And this is new to Automate Evolve, and we have used this several times in our designs based on the needs and the requirements of our project. So it's fairly straightforward, three-step options. We want to identify or define what the swim lane is we want to update. And in this case, we want to reassign it to somebody, or we could also just assign it to somebody as well. And we want to remove the current user that was there. So if we follow along in this workflow, I have received this first task from entering in my name on the originator view. Once I complete this task and enter in a new reassignee, the workflow will identify that and then reassign this swim lane to the new user. So let's hop back over to our request form. Okay, as we can see, we have my name here. This is I was the first approver. I'm going to go ahead and assign this to my brother, Tom. And we'll send that over to him. Okay, just like that, as you can see, I no longer have a task. Let's make sure we validate our work. We'll come over here and see our process history. And we'll find here that Tom is now assigned to the second approval task. So that was a successful test in assigning this managed swim lane, or assigning the swim lane through this managed swim lane plugin. Now, I would note that this can be used at many different times, but we frequently use this when we use a form process launch. We can, when we create a process from another process, we can assign swim lanes through these different plugins. This is just another option we can do. Other ways this is going to come and can impact your designs is if we're doing queries, dynamic queries within the workflow, or running different scripts that retrieve a user after we've submitted a form. So when the workflow is processing in the background, we can gather, we can run SAP scripts that, based on that information and queries, retrieves a new user that we want to assign to the next task. And this gives us that usability and value to do that here. Okay, so that's our second option. And let's go right into our third. So we reviewed, there's a few different ways that we can resolve a swim lane. And we talked about using a data connection, which can be dynamic based on your data source. These two other options are also effective and are commonly used as well. So ADGroup, in this case, as long as you have your domain name and your group name, you can assign a ADGroup to that swim lane, and at any point in time, as long as it's set up correctly, if that ADGroup updates, you'll have your updates as well within that swim lane. So this can be value added here once, rather than updating, whether you're maintaining your users and groups within Automate Evolve or within at an ADGroup level, they provide an option for that as well. And then SolutionFields is this third option. And what we can do here is we would be able to assign the swim lane based on a field value that is promoted as a solution field. So similarly to the form field with the workflow participant, we can declare how we want to resolve the swim lane based on a solution field that is saved to the form. You may be able to. This may be an option as well if you have a solution that has more than one solutions connected to them. So a parent-child form or a mass form that creates individual requests. These fields can be sent over through that form process launch and also be set to into a swim lane. So those are the three options I wanted to cover in our talk today. I want to flip back to our PowerPoint. If you'd like to see any more of those in depth, maybe you have questions on what should I do in this circumstance. Once again, please head to our YouTube channel ask those questions, see our other clips and videos that we frequently update and share with you at no cost, and to stay in touch. You can reach us at our website here or email us directly, and we can go from there. Thank you again for your time. Once again, my name is Tim Dempsey. I was your presenter today, and we'll see you next time.